you have Donald Trump with the Make America Great Again, right? One Nation is all about making Australia great.
Why do I feel like I'm about to be offended?
Oh shit. Here we go again.
All right, Jay, we're here again with GCP. I'm going to say 15 because I didn't look it up, talking about some of the cool stuff that's happened over the past, month or so. It's been a month since our last podcast. It's went pretty quick, wouldn't you say?
It's gone definitely quick, and a lot of stuff's happened, but a lot of stuff is sort of the same stuff in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get that because there's a few things where we've already kind of touched on it, and there's a couple of things which I know we spoke about and we said this is really exciting, and then we weren't able to get together on a podcast a week and a half ago or so, and those topics kind of like muted and they became irrelevant. But we have got some cool stuff that's been happening, and a really weird thing as well, which I'm not sure exactly when we'll bring this one up, but stay tuned because there's a few crazy things and one like really weird like live public display of affection or something like that has just taken the world by fire, and we've obviously got things to say about it. So welcome to the episode. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. All right, so a couple of interesting things. Elon Musk has usually got a pretty decent relationship with Australia from the Australian viewpoint. He's got a very good relationship with South Australia, installing the solar and things like that, even making a trip to Adelaide, which people thought was crazy. That was a few years ago. So Elon Musk has kind of been like a bit of like an Australian baby, so to speak. Would you say that's kind of accurate?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say he's much loved here and much appreciated.
But recently, Anthony Albanese, boo, insert boo Q here, has decided to take umbrage with Elon Musk's idea of free speech, which has obviously caught people's attention because Albo is, I don't know, a bit of a controlling, power who's trying to control everything and force things down everyone's throat. But he also wants to suppress our ability to talk about it on platforms such as Twitter or X. What do you have to say about this so far, Jay?
He's basically a 5'9" chihuahua that's decided to put on the boxing gloves against, as we all know, the big behemoth whale. I think, was it a whale or was it a seal? I can't remember what he referred to himself as against Mark Zuckerberg that time that they were going to get in the ring and fight. Do you remember that?
I do. I'm guessing he would have said like a whale or a megalodon or something like that.
Now that I think about it, I think it was like a beach whale move or beach seal move. I think it was that he was going to do to Mark Zuckerberg. But he can actually fight. He actually does train, and he's actually apparently not too bad. So I think he would actually destroy Mr. Albo there.
I think Albo is like this. He's like an old lawyer. Like all these politicians are lawyers, and they all come to lawyer up, and they seem to kind of display the worst side of being a lawyer when they go into politics. But yeah, trying to take away Twitter as a platform, kind of a similar
while
move
allowing the other platforms to continue on with all the stuff that they've been doing, which is very hypocritical. So
exactly, and we're going to take a couple of seconds here to talk about a couple of things that Facebook has been allowed to get away with in terms of advertisement and news. So over the can we say pandemic now? Is it acceptable to say COVID on YouTube?
it's definitely acceptable now. I think everything's been unleashed, and you can say whatever you want.
There we go. During the COVID pandemic, we're going for demonetization. During the COVID pandemic, Facebook were essentially at the government's beck and call, coming up with all kinds of stories and kind of really pushing the narrative. And their news was the one that was highlighted as the correct source of news. The alternate news, being Twitter, was always pushed to the side. And this was before Elon even bought Twitter. Mind you, this was like 2020, 2021. So this is before this all happened. But essentially, Facebook's always been at the government's beck and call to do everything they say to push this narrative or whatever narrative they want, suppressing, politicians that they don't like, suppressing news stories they don't like, and only talking about the right message that the government wants. So essentially, the government really need to suppress TikTok and Twitter, in their opinion, because they want to have the sole focus on the news outlets that they want. They want people to use threads. Like, who the hell uses Facebook threads? Like, nobody.
It was actually very funny because Twitter was actually used by the US during the campaign where Biden won against Trump. So it was actually used to dethrone Trump in that voting poll. So you can it's funny when you look back and say, oh, it's all right for us to use it for this period of time to get this period of message right. But now that it's been taken over by someone else and we can't control them and we don't like what the narrative that they're showing and we can't suppress that, and people are seeing the other side of an argument or another side of just a global view.
Yeah.
Now they're against it. So
yeah, very fascinating. Wouldn't you say? All of a sudden, Twitter is the enemy and needs to be completely erased from the platform. Because remember, this all happened kind of, the Biden versus Trump thing. That was all like a Facebook and Twitter war more than anything. And Twitter were really big in pumping up, pushing down Trump. And that's why Trump left the platform, because what's the point? He was never going to be seen. He wasn't actually being seen by the masses because there wasn't an even playing field.
Suppressing. Yeah.
So, Elon comes, opens up free speech, and all of a sudden he's a problem. Does this not parallel like the way that they're kind of treating cryptocurrency in a way, would you say?
Yeah, they're definitely trying to strangle and put their foot on it for sure. But, crypto in general is like a beach ball trying to be pushed underwater. So, eventually you can't hold it down forever. And when it does pop up, it's going to come up with a vengeance.
Yeah, it's actually a really good analogy. So it's always going to be there. And the more that they're trying to suppress it, the more they're trying to cover
the
it
bigger
up.
the upside that will be.
Exactly, because the more people are going to be seeing it. So right now, you've got people rioting in the streets. You've got people fighting over, proxy wars, real wars, gender ideology. People are literally in the streets fighting, and they're on Twitter fighting as well. But now they're trying to really push things in one direction away from, having kind of parity. And that's why Twitter, I think, is probably the most important news source that there really is. I'm still waiting to see if Candace Owens is going to be pushed as a Twitter, podcaster, so to speak, or news anchor or whatever they're going to do with her. She hasn't done anything in about a month, I reckon.
No, it'd definitely be good to see. I think she's great. Very well spoken, very insightful, and a lot of her opinions are pretty good, very factual.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring her on. I'll be happy with it.
That would be interesting to see if they actually do something like that. But yeah, so Twitter in the wars with the Australian government in particular, because they don't want Twitter here, back to the original part of this discussion point, which is Albo versus Elon Musk. And who the hell would ever thought that Elon Musk would even pay Albo any attention whatsoever? Like, a big part of this for Albo must be like, okay,
trying to show dominance. It's literally trying to show dominance. It's trying to show that I'm a bigger man than you, Mr. Billionaire, and I've got more power than you. Basically, he's trying to flex the little power that he has. And trying to use rules and stuff that's in place, which he's going far beyond turning this country into a communist country. If he does, it should be free. Obviously there should be rules and regulations. That's not what I'm saying, but he's definitely trying to push us into a communist country.
Well, when you think about it, Scott Morrison, I know I've said this before, Scott Morrison kind of was like the holidaying prime minister. He was always on holiday. If there's a catastrophe, he wasn't in Australia. Albanese hasn't really left the country to, go on holidays, but he's taken his girlfriend all around Australia with him at the taxpayer's expense. But also this brings us to more of a thing, which is, each leader only has a few short years to kind of make their mark, and Albanese hasn't been able to make a mark besides anything negative. He's tried to force us down one way with The Voice. He's really pushed the agenda with, the vaccines. Scott Morrison was doing that as well, but, Albo continued it. He's
Yep, you got to let up on it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the woker leaders of the world. I think he's just really trying to, be cool, play with the cool cats in America, for example. And
To be honest, you know what this has made me see?
yeah,
This has opened my eyes up more to go, you know what? Like, Labor has been terrible, all right? Absolutely terrible in this run. But a lot of people wanted Labor here in Australia. People wanted Labor because they were so sick of Liberal and the rules that they implemented during COVID and everything. So it was more of a frustration move. It wasn't anything they had done outside of that. It was literally just that move. And then we get Labor, and then all of a sudden there's crisis after crisis. The hospitals, they promised to do this to the hospitals. They haven't done anything. They promised to do this to schoolings. They haven't done anything with that. They try to force a voice. They spend millions and millions of dollars, $430 million with that.
Just say $500 million. Like,
yeah. And then like you have Adelaide under Peter Malinauskas, who tried to do another voice.
He's a flog.
It was like a secret voice that only Indigenous people could vote for. And there was like 23,000 Indigenous people on the electoral rolls. And I'm pretty sure that there was like under 3,000 that actually rocked up to vote.
That's right. You were saying this.
Yeah. So it was a
very low percentage.
Yeah, I know. Which means like, they tried again to sneakily push it through. And it was like, no, stop pushing this through. So yeah, it just goes to show that they've been terrible. And then Liberal are now like trying to back Albanese's plan up with this whole suppression of free speech. They don't want it either. So you have Liberal now supporting Albanese, which is Labor. And then you're like, well, Liberal's bad now as well. And now they're trying to backtrack on that.
Like, who's going to win? They need to find a point they can win on.
I think they're both just as bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Liberal have a slight advantage, in my opinion. Right? So I think we as the people, we need to vote for something different, someone better. And to me, that's the One Nation Party.
Now, do you remember growing up?
It's literally like, yeah, but I just want to say this first. So,
yeah,
you have Donald Trump with the Make America Great Again, right? One Nation is all about making Australia great. It's about the people, right, of all walks of life. You're Australian, you're here, you work hard. They want the best for you. That's what it is. They had a bad reputation because that's what the if you want to say the left and the right, that's what they were pushing through, and it was all false. It was nothing to it was all false and lies. But those lies, back when you had no internet, no fact checking, it was just word of mouth. They really stuck, and to be honest, I think they still stick to this day until you go through and actually do some research and look into the One Nation Party and see what they stand for and what they're trying to do. And then you're like, wow, this is like all the stuff that I want for Australia and to be Australian.
Yeah. Well, exactly. For example, like people would assume that they hate foreigners. They hate, I'm going to say First Nations people. I don't know what's acceptable on YouTube, but they don't hate those people.
They painted Pauline Hanson, who was part of the party, as a racist.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just like they paint Donald Trump as a racist.
Exactly, which is terrible. But we were talking about this the other day as well. So I'm surprised we didn't remember to say something about that, because she's kind of been embroiled with this Elon Musk versus Albo kind of situation, this dealio.
Yeah, and she's all for free speech, and she's on the side of Elon and thinks there needs to be free speech. Needs to be basically free speech. to have it all unsuppressed, and both sides of an argument, both sides of a political view, seen, heard, and hashed out.
And
Obviously,
you,
we don't want bullying and like that, but like I mean, at the end of the day, a bit of sticks and stones might break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Okay, so a little bit of that stuff like online bullying, it's not right, it's not this and that, but you know we need to toughen up as a society. Other countries, they have it a lot tougher. They're born and bred different. And if we want to continue the life and the luxuries that we have here, we need to take a stand and stop letting the government control our lives and opinions and be basically dependent on them. Do you know what I mean? The government is supposed to work for its people and help its people, not the other way around. And at the moment, they're trying to restrict a lot of our stuff, trying to put taxes up, trying to make it harder for us so that we become more of a slave and more dependent on them. And they can basically, suckle feed us and drip us, a bit of money here, but a bit of help lifeline there to get through in life, instead of actually, basically being a land of opportunity.
and you can tell that. You can tell they've been doing that for a while. They've been planting the seeds, but it's been like this for about 50, 60 years, maybe. They've been doing this. Like the 70s is probably when people started to notice it as well. But you can tell the budget as well. You can tell that, Liberal and Labor, they've got that financial backing to really make it. They can pay for, advertising. They basically can buy off whatever they want to, for the newspapers. Whereas, like the One Nation Party doesn't have that. It doesn't have that budget. It doesn't have that, financial backing. It can't really. It's got to go viral for people to hear it. It's got to have, someone like Elon Musk get involved and somehow get kind of embroiled in the situation.
Wouldn't that be great?
Get seen. You know what I mean?
Oh, wouldn't that be great if he became a donor for One Nation?
Oh, I think Liberal and Labor
would be great, because that would
lose
just
their shit.
That would just honestly even the playing field. Because you got to think there's people, when you talk about puppet masters, that's sort of like what it is. So like you have people that are behind closed doors that are either like Liberal or like Labor for their own personal gain and their own personal agenda of like whatever company or whatever rules or regulation that best suit them. So they donate money to these Liberals or Labors basically to help incentivize them to let things go for them. So it's more financial benefit for them, basically.
Exactly. A big donation from him would be nuts. Nuts. But I do remember we were talking about this the other day, and I wanted to mention it because when you and me were kids, when we were children, the advertising, the news, the radio, your parents, everybody, in their head, they thought, they knew because of what they were told that One Nation were the bad guys. Everyone laughed at Pauline Hanson. Everyone didn't like her. She had catchphrases that they made fun of, but now it's kind of like, well, she's actually not that bad. She doesn't hate this person. She doesn't hate that person. Nope. She wants people to come into the country the legal way. I know back then that was a big point of contention.
Yep.
And
come to our country legally, honestly, and work hard.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Don't basically go on benefits and just
as soon as you get here
live a life off of benefits here. Come work, provide to the community, and everything's good.
Yeah. So I mean that would be one thing I wanted to point out. We were all told when we were kids 20 years ago, One Nation was a bad party, but really they're just an alternative that has more of an Australian point of view than a worldwide point of view. And I feel like everyone else is trying to create this new world order type scenario, and people are trying to push back on that. But yeah.
Well, I mean, like, just a simple thing is like, she's all for like putting the schools and making the schools better and putting money into that for the infrastructure for that, trying to build up the hospital systems, trying to basically build the groundwork up, not just build a fancy stadium and spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a Grand Prix thing in Adelaide or like have a gather round, or like the gather round's been good. It's good. Everyone gets together. I understand that, right? It's great. But do you know what I mean? Like, there's other desperate things that you could be doing as well first. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
spending that money on.
yeah. It's
Not
a big,
to take away from the gather round, but I'm just saying that there's plenty of other money to be spent otherwhere, and they just don't. They just try and distract you with we're going to build this shiny thing, and people are like, yeah.
It's just a whole bunch of what do they call it?
Well, I mean, just simple. Like they've now set. They're now putting $100 million, another $100 million, sending it to Ukraine to go fight that war there.
Oh,
like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's taxpayers' money. That's not just free money that we have in a bank account that the government is sending there. That's your personal tax money. Like, wouldn't you rather that money go to something more beneficial for for Australia, like
roads, housing, upgrades,
more
infrastructure,
housing, infrastructure, schools, hospitals. Like,
the homeless people in Adelaide are increasing.
Yeah,
you drive down Marion Road. You drive down Marion Road, you actually see there's like a homeless man. He's like set up a little like shack right in front of like a gym or something like that.
Yeah.
So like, the homeless level is increasing. People need help. Cost of living is going up. But they found $100 million to go to another country.
The web slogan from "You'll own nothing and be happy" to "You'll own nothing and be unhappy." It'll be too late.
But it is playing out like a movie, like a post-apocalyptic movie. I have been told to watch the movie 1984, which is what people think this is going towards. So next episode maybe we'll have a movie review.
I actually want to watch Civil War.
Which one?
Civil War, not Marvel. Civil War.
Oh yes, the new Civil War. That isn't at cinemas. I looked the other day and I thought it was, but it's not there. So yes, we might have a post-apocalyptic next episode, talking about some of these crazy conspiracy type movies on the end of the world. What do you think about that?
Sounds good to me.
I think it's a plan. All right. So for those of you who say we don't talk about Australian politics, we've spoken about Australian politics, brought to us by Elon Musk, bringing it to our attention, but still.
Exactly. And now you know my point of view and who I'm voting for.
Labour, right?
One nation, baby.
One nation, baby. I like the way you said that. All right. So that's a massive update on, I guess, Australian politics, which is, look, for the best thing I can say about Australian politics is it hasn't been this exciting in 50 years. I gotta say,
easily.
You get someone like Elon Musk talking about it, people start talking about it. Australian politics differs from American politics so many ways. For anyone who's from America watching
it's just like left and right. That's every year, pretty much.
Like, it's almost like there's a coup. Like, you know what a coup is? When like a third world nation, like they just go and kill their prime minister. They kind of do that to each other, except they don't kill them. Obviously, they vote them out, but they kind of just keep cooing each other over and over, and that's what's kind of happened for the last 20 years.
Something, and then half doing it, and then going, "Oh, we've been voted out now," and then another clan comes in and goes, "Oh, well, what they started building there, we're going to knock that down because that's a waste of money," and start doing something else. And they're just this cycle of just like never ever getting anything really done, and just wasting a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, it's been real ridiculousness. I mean, one thing to compare it to would be like Liz Truss. So Liz Truss. So Boris Johnson was the prime minister for the UK.
Yeah,
and then he left.
The guy with the hair. He had the party.
He had the party. Yeah, exactly. He didn't care about COVID restrictions. He's my kind of guy.
He makes the rules. He can do what he wants.
Exactly. And Liz Truss came in and she promised to reduce taxes. She promised to do all these things. And here's the thing, like, it's good to say, like, if you and me wanted to be prime minister, we would promise all these things. Like,
I would promise the world.
I would
All
want,
you have to do is get elected, and then you can sit back on that pension, baby, for the rest of your life and get paid a pretty penny. And that's what people don't understand. So these people, they will like it. Honestly, if I could run, right, I would promise everyone $1 million. Everyone that votes for me will get $1 million in their bank account, guaranteed. Right?
damn.
Certified, guaranteed. Right? And then when I get in, right, I'll be like, look. Unfortunately, I made some promises at the time. I've now looked at the budget. I can't, obviously adhere to those promises. Here's maybe $100 to $500. That's all. That's all we can afford.
1,000%
Yeah,
decrease.
yeah. That's all we can afford. Because we need to tackle these other issues. And then, when people are like, what other issues? I'll be like, the healthcare and this and that.
The roads.
Yeah,
What would you
and
prefer?
then in 4 years' time,
$1
it's like, oh, but you haven't done any of those things, and I'm like, yeah, I know it's it's expensive, and we had this to tackle, and we had that to tackle, and so basically, I didn't do anything, but I got a pension for the rest of my life.
Just like Liz Truss, you would probably last 2 weeks because she did essentially just that. She promised the earth, she reduced everything, and then like the UK, inflation, was like this, and then like the economy just went from this to it just tanked, nosedive basically overnight, and she resigned.
Yep,
but she gave it a roll.
She did.
She tried, but yes,
not hard enough.
No, exactly. She didn't try hard enough.
Yeah, that's she didn't pull up her pants, didn't buckle up her shoes, and go, you know what, and roll up her sleeves and go, you know what, I'm gonna make hard work of this. She just gave up.
Yeah, well, exactly. But it is what it is, and that's Australian politics and British politics, or UK for those of you.
Yeah, because I am part English.
There we go. Jay speaks it, therefore he is.
Speaks it into existence.
All right, so we've spoken about that a little bit. The USA, this is a segue as well because we talked about TikTok and Twitter. It's a pretty kind of slopey segue, but we're going to go with it. The USA has kind of officially signed the bill to ban TikTok unless it sells or like dissolves itself in American markets within the next, I think it's 7 to 8 months. So, not only does this just impact people who want to watch TikTok, for example, it will obviously impact the creators in America that are creating content, monetizing themselves, and getting those fat checks in from TikTok. What do you reckon, Jay? What do you have to say about this?
Sounds like someone at another platform, I won't say which,
yes,
is unhappy with people not using their platform anymore, and it's a dying old platform, and it's only good for marketplace, and basically trying to take out the competition through, again, possible, allegedly, donorship, to pass a law to basically go after TikTok. And then because basically you got to think, if TikTok goes down and out, who benefits from that?
Who comes back?
The other platform.
Who has been?
They've got their own shorts. They've got their own videos. Creators will move over. Boom. Up. Price. Money. Power. Done.
But also, who has been? This may be unrelated. Who has been at the US government's beck and call, pushing their narratives and their agendas? Could this be the same company?
Is it owned by a lizard man?
Bum, bum, bum. Aren't they all? But
Well,
yes, for
I
those
mean,
of
yeah,
you,
just totally off topic. You remember that video though that he was on some show and he took off that jacket, and then it was like, what's on that jacket? And it was like some like Freemason kind of weird, kind of pyramidy thing going on the inside of his jacket, and he was like so like embarrassed and nervous to show it. It's like, what is
oh,
that? That's a cult. That's a cult.
if there's anybody who is 100% in one of those like worldwide things, it's him. It is him. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who are living on the rock, or for those of you who are just young enough to not know what this company is because it's not cool to use anymore, we're obviously talking about Snapchat. I mean, Facebook.
No, Meta.
Snapchat better than Facebook?
Hang on. No, you said Facebook. It's not called Facebook. It's called Meta.
It's called Meta. Yeah, I'm never going to call it Meta.
See, you're a boomer. You're living in the past.
You're
See, I'm more with the younger ones. It's called Meta.
They've recently also implemented their AI on their app. Have you even tried using it? Actually, no, I know you don't use Facebook. 100%. I know you don't.
I have a little bit of a scroll every now and then. I mainly use it for browsing a marketplace. That's
And
all
Messenger.
it's like. That's what, and Messenger. It's fantastic for Messenger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the ease of it. Very good. Marketplace, great. It's fun. Love to browse at random shit. Oh wow, yeah, I need one of these. Oh yeah, that looks cool.
Pokemon skateboard. Yep, fuck it, I'm getting it.
Yeah, I can't skate, but that looks cool. But other than that, it's just filled with ads. Just ad after ad after ad after ad after. Hang on, were you just listening to me? And now there's an ad of the exact thing I was literally just saying.
Yeah, that's creepy. So what we're saying is that company, that Facebook or Meta, are the ones who will benefit the most from TikTok's demise. And they're the ones that are also kind of like, getting just by the US government whenever they need to. So they're in bed together. It makes perfect sense. I think your theory right there is just nail on the head stuff right there. But the thing is, it's not cool to use Facebook anymore, and only old people use Facebook. The younger generation just don't use it. They only maybe use Messenger.
Yeah.
Actually, how many conversations have you had with an older person who only has Facebook for Messenger? They don't post. They just literally have the Facebook app on their phone. They have the Messenger app. Then they link their account, delete the actual Facebook app, so they don't even have that crap on there. Just use Messenger.
Yep.
And you're telling me that Facebook or Meta want to try to take the younger audience from TikTok over to Instagram Reels, and they want to take the Twitter audience from Twitter to Threads. I'm not sure how successful they're going to be. Maybe with Instagram, but yeah. So yes, the USA has signed a bill to ban TikTok unless it sells within the next 7 to 8 months. Who the heck do you think is going to have the money to buy the American version of TikTok? Who do you think could potentially do that? That's also looking to maybe get in the video space.
Elon Musk, and he's going to change it to Vines.
Oh, he's going to bring back Vine.
Yeah.
I am a boomer because that made me feel.
Yeah, I know, right? He has flirted with the idea before. That's why I'm saying it. He's like, should we bring back Vines? He made a vote, and everyone knows he loves his votes. So like, he'll put a vote up, and depending on the outcome of the vote, he'll do or not do whatever the vote says. So
yeah, he actually does it. Like, should I rename this? I will fucking rename it. Yeah,
yeah.
It's like, Jesus, like, give it some thought.
Yeah.
He just fucking goes for it. I mean, still, I'm going to say it again. It is still twitter.com. It is still the URL.
I know. It's so hard to keep calling it X.
I can't.
I know. Yeah, I'm so bad, but I call it Twitter still.
But it's twitter.com still. It hasn't changed the URL.
It does change, and then it gets changed back again. I think people keep changing it.
I think the way the coding works for a website, I think you just can't do that. But it's just, it's still Twitter, dude. You're just calling it X for the sake of calling it X. So yes, we have Zuckerberg and Elon Musk potentially in their own different ways, maybe being able to try to fight each other to benefit from TikTok's demise in the US. So watch this space. Obviously, this is about 7 or 8 months of development to see what's actually going to be happening right now. But yeah. Now, I'm not going to talk about the next story just yet. It's a bit creepy. I don't want to. But I have just seen something come on right here. Elon Musk on Twitter. The problem with great replacement theory is that it fails to address the fundamental issue of low birth rates. Record low birth rates are leading to population collapse in Europe and even faster collapse in most of Asia. Immigration is low in Asia, so there is no replacement going on. The countries are simply shrinking away. If this doesn't turn around, then any countries on Earth with low birth rates will become empty of people and fall into ruin, like the remains we see of many long dead civilizations.
Basically,
That makes a
people
lot of
aren't
sense.
banging.
Yeah, exactly. People aren't smashing. People aren't cupping
Yeah.
cheeks.
Yeah. He said this quite a few times about Japan. Also Europe now, but yeah, he definitely is worried about the collapse of civilization. And then you have like the other side of it of Bill Gates and all that saying that we're overpopulated. There's too many people. There's too many people in a small space, in one congregated area. You know what I mean? Like when you look at all of Australia, everybody is pretty much on the little bits of the coastline.
They're crammed.
Around. Yeah. We got a lot of land, but we're not spread out.
They're not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
But Japan in particular, I know this has been something people have talked about for years. There is such an old population of Japan, and people aren't reproducing quick enough.
Why do you think that is?
God, I don't know.
Do you like straight off the top of the head? It's like cost of living, right? Things are so expensive now compared to before.
They don't want to bring people in.
You want to have money behind you to get a better life, have a better house, better car. It's harder to get a good paying job, so you're studying longer, and you get that good job, and then you're trying to stay in there for as long as you can. So is it financial, do you think, or do you think it's just a bit of the ease of it all now? Life's a bit easy, so people are more relaxed, have fun, chill, smash and have kids later. Because the birthing age is a lot. People are having kids a lot later in life now, as opposed to like earlier on, like 18, 19, 20. You know what I mean?
I think this has a lot to do with it as well. The rise of the mobile phone and the rise of social media. I think people you've seen it, you've seen clips of entire families at a restaurant and all of them are looking at a phone. Dating has become an app where you pick and choose the most attractive person to you.
So you have more choice. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm saying is people are just too picky right now. I think
you have more choice.
Used a dating app, but yeah, more choice.
It's not that you're picky; it's that you have more choice. So you can be like, "Oh no, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough."
Yeah,
not good
swipe
enough.
right or swipe left or whatever it might be.
And then like, "Oh yeah, that one's okay." You know what I mean? And then take them for a little bit. Nah, not good enough. Like not earning 6 figures.
Yeah,
not good enough. Not good enough. Doesn't drive the best car. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, is that what it is? We can afford to be picky.
I think a lot of it is also the fact that everyone spends so much time on their phones watching apps like TikTok. And I don't want to bag TikTok, but you can get lost. You can spend 6 hours when you meant to spend half an hour. I think people are consuming so much content via streaming, via YouTube, via TikTok, via the wealth of programming that there is, that they're literally just kind of like getting lost in that, and they're choosing that over going out and meeting people. Then what happens is a lot of the time psychologically, it makes people kind of not feel confident to go out. Yeah. So it becomes, okay, a dating app and then you kind of try to do it that way, it's not the way it used to be 15 years ago,
Mm.
like maybe even like 10 years ago,
I
where
mean, even Netflix and chill,
yeah,
like that for a while that was a thing, but like
mm,
now that's been supplanted.
yeah, people don't do that. But it used to
No.
be you'd maybe go to a party and you'd meet up with friends and you'd meet someone there. That is how I actually met two ex-girlfriends from way back when. You go to a party, you meet someone, you talk to them, you exchange numbers, and then you like talk later on and then you catch up. I feel like I'm lucky I don't have to do that, but I've got a
Mm.
great partner. But if I was in a position where I had to do that, I feel like the way that the way that content consumption has changed, I feel like I would be lost in that world. And I feel like that's the way that a lot of people are. So I think it's not just people being scared of a potential war. It's not people being scared of bringing in kids and not wondering how they're going to feed them. It's not just that.
Mm.
That's obviously a huge problem. People are
Mm.
also just literally choosing to consume content. They're saying that in 10 years, people will choose to literally buy robots as lovers. It's a
Yeah.
study that I saw, which I think's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah. Um, I mean, technically, some already do.
Well,
Just not full size robots.
bow chicken wow wow.
um,
But yeah, so I
look,
think that has a lot to do with it.
it is pretty scary when you think about it. Like, I mean, there's some kind of like in person uh, vibe, flirting. Like if you want to call it like chemistry that's like in the air, like that you can sense. You can sense the room. Do you know what I mean? When
Yeah,
you're in person. I mean, some people are not good at it. Some people that are. But majority of people, you get like good vibes, and you can chat, and you know, just to basically speak to people one on one, basically.
yeah,
All right. But then if you take that away, then all of a sudden it's a totally different game talking online. You know what I mean? Like trying to text or like tell someone, via a photo and a 10-word thing about myself, trying to express that be so like impossible. I couldn't do it. I
well, yeah,
mean,
and
like
also
well,
when you text somebody,
even talking like now virtually, right?
yeah,
This has been a big step for me. Like I'm not very good at talking, you know, via like online kind of stuff, like or remotely. I'm not a big public speaker, but like a great one-on-one person. So if I have you in the room and I'm
I can
talking and
attest
I'm
to that.
explaining, yeah, I talk your ear off at work. But like you know what I mean? Like I can really get my point across. I can really explain something. I can really get to the nitty-gritty of inside and out of a situation. Um, but yeah, online it's a totally different ballgame. And just for some people, they're going to get a false sense of who someone is via what they get online. And
Yeah,
then when you get that person home or you spend a few months with them, you're like, hang on, this is not the person that I swiped right on. This is not the vibe that I got from that person. I don't like this situation. And then the cycle will just continue again and again and again because you're not getting that one-on-one vibe that you initially get from speaking to someone in person, getting that chemistry in person on a few dates, get to know them, you know what I mean? All that kind of good stuff.
and that also goes hand in hand with the kind of how people there's like a slut culture war. Not necessarily it's slut culture. It could be a woman on Tinder having texting conversation with someone, meeting them, you know, sleeping with them, thinking, okay, he's okay, and then thinking, oh, hang on, his texts kind of display one thing because almost everyone's either more confident or more outgoing via text than they are in person,
Mm,
and then they have that massive thing, and then they go back to the dating pool on Tinder, and then
mm.
all of a sudden, slut shaming.
Yeah. So
Might
instead
not
of
always
like,
be the case.
instead of like a lady, having two or three partners, in the real world, Like, you know what I mean? Like doing
Mm,
that, going out there, fishing, the time it takes, you know, oh no, don't like that vibe or stop it. You know what I mean? Whether getting a false impression through text message, going, I really like this person. Like, yeah, and feeling like you do have that chemistry, giving it up, then going, hang on, no, this is not what I thought the chemistry was. You're
exactly.
going to go through a lot more. So those three will probably end up to like 9 or 12 before you think you've found the right person. And then by that time, is that person that you're meeting going to be accepting of your 9 or 12 people that you've already been through?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be, you know, uh, like a consensual bond with that person.
Yeah. And
Not just
I
giving
think
it out for free.
what we've done just now is have a far more conscious, self-aware discussion about it. Whereas if you watch somebody like who is that, like Andrew Tate, for example, or the whatever podcast, those guys are awesome with their views sometimes. But with that
Yeah,
particular view, I don't think they're looking at that side of it. They're not looking at the fact that this has created that, has created this, has created
yeah,
that. They're just straight up saying she's been with 9 people, she's a hoe. I think
yeah,
we've had a far more interesting way of looking about it.
yeah,
Maybe they're only talking about the small percentage of women who have an OnlyFans or something like that. But I think we've had a
yeah,
far broader scope about how it's actually worked than most people would
yeah.
actually think to have.
It's more like she's a hoe because of this. Like her, like you know what I mean. Like not that it's not her fault, right? But like the problem stems from that problem, which has developed that bad habit because she's trying to find that outcome, and she can't. The only way to get to that outcome is to now rely through the boundaries and everything that's ever changing with technology. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, I mean, we started talking about the fact that they're going to ban TikTok, and we stumbled upon.
women's rights.
Well,
Oh,
come on, I wouldn't go that far. Uh, yeah, women's rights. Yeah. But I do like that. And I think that's
yeah,
a far broader, better way of looking at it. So I think we've done a good job of talking about that. Did not expect that. But moving on. Oh man, we're approaching the topic I don't want to talk about, but we're going to talk about it, guys. Stay tuned, like and subscribe now to watch something in a few minutes, I guess. It's the creepy thing I was telling you about as well. I'm not editing this. I'm going to keep it in for you guys at home to see our process.
now you did kind of brief me on someone licking an ear, and then like
That's what I.
that to me. Are we talking about Mike Tyson?
No, I'm going to show you the video when it comes up. We're hyping people up now. It like you'll see it and
This,
you'll
this is not
immediately.
Mike Tyson eating that ear.
I would rather it was Mike Tyson eating that ear. But we're gonna I'm still gonna hold
Let's
it
do it.
because
Pull the band-aid off. Let's do it.
I'll pull the band-aid off. Okay. Well, snooker, a worldwide popular sport.
Very boring.
Very
Sorry.
very boring. Yes. Yeah, pool is boring, snooker is boring. I
Oh
don't know
look,
the
no,
rules.
pool and billiards is great as a casual,
Oh, I mean
boring
on TV,
Thursday
like
night.
watching on
Have a
TV.
beer, play some friends.
I'm talking about on TV. Like
Oh,
how like
jeez. People
I
watch
can't
that?
watch darts, bowling, or snooker on TV.
I'll watch bowling. That can be enjoyable.
Can it?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Damn, I'm gonna go off topic.
Go
Cornhole.
on.
Cornhole. Fantastic.
Is cornhole televised?
Yes. Yes, it is great. It's very entertaining, very riveting. Particularly if they do like the celebrity one. Oh, get into it, guys.
I
Anyway,
would watch.
back to your
I would
topic.
watch. I would watch cornhole. See, now I don't. Now I don't want to go to where we're going. Okay. Speaking of cornhole, so this is something I saw on the Snooker World Championship. Somebody posted it on Twitter, and the Twitter horde went after this, and now the police are investigating this individual. I'm just going to quickly present the screen here, guys. Bear with me. Bear with me. I got to remember how to do it. Audio. Also, just actually, I don't need audio. We don't need audio for this one. All right. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
So, you see what's happening here? So let me know if this works. I'm pressing play.
This is a live reaction as well.
Did you see that?
That is creepy.
That is creepy. Do you want to watch it again so you know? See, now you know what to look for.
I don't know if I want to.
Look at the kid. Look at the kid. Pulls away. Pulls away.
He liked it. Does he like it?
I think he's a kid who's being awkward. Now look at that. Look at that face.
He looks like shit. I've just been caught. Smile and act normal.
That's the face right there. Oh shit. Uh-oh. Right there. That guy is fucked. Yeah. So that's creepy. Absolutely creepy. I'm gonna stop the screen. So yeah.
Look. I know some Americans, they do the whole kiss your dad on the lips thing with toddlers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do that. I do that. That's not terrible.
I find that a little creepy.
It's different to like a normal kiss, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, but like I personally find that a little creepy, right?
Yeah.
But it's like widely acceptable in like American culture, as a thing. Seeing that's like next level creepiness in my view. That's like icky.
Yeah, that's messed up. So people obviously were alerted to it. Police alerted after a man's skin crawling act on young boy on live TV. Police are reviewing footage from a live television broadcast that appears to show a man biting the ear of a young boy that was standing near him. And you saw the way he was biting it. That wasn't like a, I mean, like, there's no playful way to do that. I'm trying to like, but he was like, chewing and sucking, like that was fucked up. But like,
I shouldn't laugh. Oh, it's just
they're out in the open with this stuff. So the footage went completely viral. It's in the BBC coverage, so it's maybe a UK thing.
So what's his father?
Sorry,
is it his father?
They're reviewing it. There hasn't been any update. There hasn't been any update just yet. But basically,
father, like all those kind of things. I don't know if they make any difference, but it's just I don't know.
To me,
I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
That wouldn't make a difference. That would be like take that kid away from that person because that's.
I mean, first of all, you need to like confiscate a lot of his devices and start going through to see if there's any kind of material going on.
What else is happening?
His web browser and stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, how much damage control is this man going to do? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you can't just say that that's normal behavior.
No,
because that isn't normal behavior.
No,
you know what I mean? Like a good night kiss, that's normal parent behavior with a kid.
That's something that you do with your girlfriend or your wife.
That is a messed up thing. So right here, someone wrote, he nibbled on the child's ear, then realized he was on film and shook his head and smiled and waved. You know what I mean? Like he definitely saw it. The kid saw the camera. I think that is a cry for help, the little wave thingy. He's literally like, that wave with a camera gets attention to that movement in the background. And I think that that could be enough to save that kid. But here's the
I
other
don't know.
thing.
I saw it different. I saw like so you saw it as a cry for help.
I saw it
saw
as a kid who doesn't know what to do.
Like look, yeah, probably deep down inside, but it looked like he enjoyed it. It looks like that kind of stuff goes on, whatever creepy stuff goes on. That like it's like a little fun kind of game. Like
Maybe he's been
and
conditioned to think that that's normal behavior.
maybe, like yeah, I'll play that. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely startling stuff.
yeah.
You don't like to see creepy stuff like that. But yeah,
No, I definitely don't want to hang on this topic too much because it's very icky and very.
it
Yeah.
is icky. It is.
I'm glad that we pulled the band off. We got it out of the way. Let's move on to something
I can
better,
get it off my screen.
uplifting, uplifting. Get that stuff out of my brain.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Next thing we're going to talk about is going woke and going broke has been a topic which has been spoken about in, I'm going to say like right wing, like YouTube movie critics and things like that. They talk about
It's
movies.
definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing.
It's a thing. It's
been proven once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. It keeps getting proven. Correct.
Yep.
Even just look at Woolworths, Coles. It keeps happening, not just in the movie world, but everywhere. When people put their dollars and they vote with their dollars.
Exactly. But how's about this? Imagine you are a movie star, obviously, as I like to often do. Imagine you had a movie coming out in the next week or two. You filmed the movie. Everybody loves you because you've run a really popular TV show. So everyone already loves you.
Okay,
They think this dude is awesome. They think you're awesome.
Yep. I'm going to do a ritual and get butt naked and take photos. Isn't that what
Maybe
they
even
do?
wearing a dress. But imagine.
Yeah, that's what they do, isn't it?
But you've got a movie coming out. Your movie is directed by Guy Ritchie, who's done like 3 good movies and several okay-ish movies. It has Henry Cavill in it. Fucking Henry Cavill in it.
Okay.
And you come out and start bagging the police, bagging armed services, going full woke in an interview. But, because who the hell knows why, for extra cred. What do you think is going to happen to your movie when it releases? Do you think those people who supported you are going to be like, not anymore?
Okay, who is this person?
I don't want to say it, but I'm going to, because he is an actor that we both like. Alan Richardson.
Okay, so just to jot people's mind, Blue Mountain State was a TV show that he was in. Very funny, very good. And a later show. He's also been in a couple of movies actually that I really quite liked. I think one was a war movie where they were like, the ending was really shit, but like the actual movie wasn't too bad. There's like, they were actually, can I tell people? Spoiler alert.
Go on.
It was like they were like dead, but they were like kept alive by like the government while they like kind of like replayed to get this ghost thing or something or other. But it was like it was pretty good. And the other one he was in the TV show lately was Reacher, which you got me on.
Which, I mean, I got you on that, and people absolutely loved it. They lost their mind for that show.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like he was almost seen as
good Christian person, coming out, supporting good values, good way of thinking, good morals.
Exactly. This isn't the time to go woke.
Yeah. And then what did he do?
He went woke. Ghosts of War, that was the movie he was in that you were talking about.
Yes, Ghost of War.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
Go watch Ghosts of War.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just hate to see it. And like Guy Ritchie hasn't made a good movie in I can't remember how long. Like he did a couple of bangers back in the day, but his movies nowadays are not particularly amazing. Kind of like M. Night Shyamalan, he kind of is around and he's got a name, but he doesn't particularly do the best movies. So yeah, that has really soured me on the movie. it soured me on.
So what did he actually do? What did he actually do though? So he went woke, but that's not good enough for me. I mean, me and us, the people, would like to know exactly what he did and what he said to make inform our opinion.
Now, I haven't got a clip on this, but let's have a look here. He has upset a large portion of his fan base, making comments about Donald Trump. The former president's followers are viewed as
That's
offensive.
right. He was upping Biden and really supporting Biden, and he was bashing Trump, wasn't he? Because I remember you telling me at work. Now,
Yeah, exactly.
and the stuff that he was saying about Trump, I think, was pretty below the belt as well.
He said that politics is a corrupting force within Christianity, which I mean, you could potentially view as accurate. You know, everyone uses Christianity as a way to kind of talk up their this, that, and the other. I'm a Christian quite simply because of what Jesus calls us to do. Love other people until death. It doesn't mean we're all to be hung on a cross, but how can I suffer for you? That is a beautiful thing. It is so antithetical to what Jesus was calling us to be and to do. What's this other Trump thing? While Rachel was popular with conservatives, it was often hailed as an anti-woke show during its second season. Richardson didn't bat an eye calling out President Trump. He said Trump's a rapist and a con man, and yet the entire Christian church seems to be treating him like he's their poster child, and he doesn't understand it. You know, obviously, Trump was accused of rape, scapegoated by the New York, government, the New York, I know, prosecutors or something like that. I'm not sure exactly who it was. You can't really prove that this happened because it was like 20 years ago, apparently. Weird times to come out with something like this. He had such a huge fan base that would have seen this movie if these comments weren't made.
Yep.
They're not like they're not crazy ones, but then the immediate jump to Trump is a rapist and a con man.
I have heard a lot of things that he's said, and he's sounded very right wing opinionated. And supportive of a lot of their views, which I mean made me like him. Was like, yeah, like we need to get rid of this, and we need to stop acting like this. We need to pull our pants up and buckle our shoes and get back to hard work and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah. And then he goes and he said what he said, and put a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. And I was like, you know what, like I don't like you as much anymore now.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what the backlash is. It's people going, you know what? I don't like you talking like that. I don't like you bagging and saying that about our former president. That pushing your morals and whatever you're trying to push.
Well, there's two crowds as well.
Paid as well.
Yeah. Well, there's two crowds. There's the people who, there's the people who say, I don't like you saying about this about the president, the former president. There's also the other crowd which kind of says, you're an actor, stick to acting. You're a basketball player, stick to basketball player, stick to NFL, stick to the thing that you spend your life doing.
Oh, look, if you
talk about the other crap,
if you want to talk about that stuff, that's fine. But I feel like you should be out of acting, out of your sport, retired, and then take up politics and use your platform for that. Not while you're in the middle of doing your current job of, sporting or acting or, singing or anything like that. Like you're there, perform. Then once you're finished, then you can hang up the boots and get into politics and have your say and your word. And by all means,
because people call it for what it is, which is, these people have such a large fan base, such a large audience, that you can definitely see it as manipulation of that audience when a athlete or a mega celebrity comes out and says, I'm voting for this person, you should too. You even saw The Rock endorse Biden, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Now he's come out and he said he won't endorse Biden. He doesn't.
He regrets it.
He regrets it.
He regrets it. Like, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
a lot of these people that pushed for Biden and wanted Biden regret the decision. They're also trying to now. I think Biden's camp is trying to put the tax bracket up to 66% for income tax. So, I mean, that's going to definitely affect their purse strings, which they're going to be very, very unhappy about. These semi-wealthy people.
I mean, a lot of them aren't hurting for money, but still.
But yeah, a lot of them do honestly regret the decision. I feel like it was more a thing of they didn't like Trump personality and personally, and not the things that he was actually getting done around the place, but they just didn't like how he was going about it. So they wanted an alternative, voted for Biden. Biden got in. Now they regret the decision as like, you know what, we're going to stay out of it and we'll vote for who. Like, a lot of them probably don't want Biden and they don't want Trump. Okay?
Yeah.
But
they're choosing to them who they
when
like
they're
more.
both put on the table and they have to choose one, they're going to vote for Trump, but they're not going to say and announce it to the world.
And you know what that brings me back to? What we spoke about when we started the podcast, which is Scott Morrison and Anthony Albanese. People were just simply voting against who they didn't like.
Yeah.
Instead of voting for what makes, maybe what makes sense. But Albo got in because people didn't like Morrison.
Yeah.
This is a similar instance. Biden got in because people really pushed against Trump, even though he was doing amazing things for his country and it was kind of having a good effect on the world. They couldn't handle that.
Yeah. And politics in America is very, very different because they control the world, not just their country. Like when we talk about politics in Australia, it's for our country, not for the world. And whoever's in does not affect anything that happens with relationships.
Nothing
with
that
Australia
happens here affects. Yeah.
So, when you talk about Trump and Biden, it's a big difference economically around the world. So that's why it's such a big deal and big difference. And I would just like to applaud and just to say to people that basically when you go to the voting polls in America, not here, America, you don't vote for someone based on who you like and who you don't like. You basically you got to vote on if their past record, if they have a past record, but what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and fix problems.
Not who's enforcing them.
Yeah, so it's like, Trump has really good policies and really good strategies. He's a great businessman. He's, you can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
So when he's in the room with other big leaders, intimidating leaders from other countries, right? Who do you want negotiating? Who do you want negotiating for your benefit for America, for your cost of living, for your gas, your electricity, your price of groceries, your housing, everything is affected. Who do you want in that room commanding that deal and negotiating that deal? You want Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's going to get you the best bottom dollar deal that he possibly can, and he won't budge a dollar.
He is the rooster in the chicken coop.
Yeah. You got Biden in there. You got an old brittle man, can barely walk, can barely put a sentence together. You want him negotiating for you? Good luck. I'm taking advantage of that if I'm in that room. I'm like, yeah, Graham, no problem. Yeah. Unfortunately, man, we got to put the price up, Cost of oil, to get it out of the ground these days, ship it over. A few $100 here, a few $100 there. $200 a barrel, brother.
Well, I mean, how about this? If Trump is the rooster in the chicken coop, Biden is a broken egg?
What came first, the chicken or the
Trump came first,
egg?
all over Biden. Disgusting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's some BS about American politics there, the woke crap that's going on.
Yeah.
If you had to point at one company, like just companies as a whole,
Yep.
who is a company, and we're not financial advisors at all. We don't even have stock market stuff. What would you personally, no, not maybe not personally, but what would you say is the least woke company that you could back? Because it's starting to really dwindle.
What are you talking for? Like, are you talking like
If you were gonna like look at a company and say, you know what, I really like
Tesla?
Tesla, for example, you know,
Yeah.
you said that's the least woke company.
Well, look at the amount of money that they've spent on advertising as a,
Hmm.
like nothing, barely anything.
It's word of
I
mouth.
mean, yeah, and then you got like other companies now spending billions and billions of dollars on their advertising.
Just trying to catch up.
Yeah, spend the money on your product.
Well, Tesla has become a sought after product in a world where people seemingly also are they're trying their best not to like Elon Musk.
Well,
They're trying to
here,
tell you not to like Elon Musk, but he's in bed with
so
Tesla and
I
everyone
had a
wants a Tesla.
conversation. I had a conversation with someone the other day that was talking, and they actually work not for Tesla, but they do work with Tesla. So a few of their parts and stuff that Tesla use, they were actually getting China and cheap China stuff, basically laborious for their interior lights and a few of their like door trims and stuff like that. And it was just rubbish. Like it was just cheap, nasty rubbish. And they basically had to scrap that and go source out this other company, which is in Australia, which will stay unnamed. But basically, yeah, they do the interior for the Model X and S. I'm pretty sure like the top of the range, more or less the top of the range kind of like models. And yeah, like Elon has to pay more obviously for that quality. But yeah, when you have a product, there's only so much nasty stuff that you want and cheap stuff that you want, and then it becomes, tacky or doesn't last as long. Yeah, so when you look at like a lot of the electric cars at the moment, it's like, how much does this cost to upkeep? And Tesla's by far the cheapest one. When you look at it over a 10-20 year upkeep, I think they're sitting at like $4,000-5,000 over that 10-20 years, as opposed to some cars are up around 50,000, 50,000, 20,000, some are
You might as well get a new
100,000.
car.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they're very very well built, and they last a while.
So you're saying that Elon Musk had the opportunity to continue just getting the cheap stuff that's made, probably super quick because it's made in mass
Quick,
production.
efficient, cheap. Yep.
He chose to maybe
wasn't
get
happy
the
with it.
slower option, but the more accurate, precise, better built option.
Better built, better quality, longer lasting. Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, really, if you're trying to create a luxury brand, a sought after brand, in terms of advertising, it seems like everybody wants his cars or the Tesla cars. But before they even announce, all the celebrities want them. You've got people that are buying the Cybertruck just to try to destroy it, things like that. He's got
And
the
then
kind
you
of
have
marketing that companies dream of.
And then you have the mainstream media that tries to show you a blown up Tesla and that they're the problem. And another Tesla is blown up in a home today. It's caught on
They put
fire.
the electric vehicles in the Leave the World Behind movie. They
Yeah,
had just
yeah. They
hundreds
want
of
to
them piled up.
paint them as
Um,
bad.
Exactly. You know, that was a very deliberate thing to do. I don't know if they were actually Teslas or if they was made to look like Teslas,
That
but
was husband, yeah.
definitely an intentional move
Yeah.
by the media to paint them as a bad guy. So yeah, I think it probably makes sense. Tesla is probably one of the companies to kind of look at, and also I guess X as well. It's privately owned though, so you really can't do much with that. Um, in terms of you know, um, trying to buy stock in them or something like that.
You can buy
Yeah,
shares.
Tesla probably makes a lot of sense. You're probably right in that regard.
Well, what would
Um,
you choose?
oh, I mean, I probably would have said Tesla as well because I can't think of anyone else. You know what I mean? Like you you think of Nike, woke. Even then, Nike's actually had some horrible disasters in the past. They had a American US sprinter, like somebody who now has the most amount of records for a female sprinter. She was pregnant, and Nike were basically like, didn't want to know you. So she left, created her own brand, came back, and now has the most medals in US female running or something like that. But you've got companies like Nike who are literally stomping on women who get pregnant. The most one of the most important things a woman can do.
Or putting a man that thinks he's a woman in
Yeah,
women's clothes.
that's where I was going. Dylan
Yeah,
Mulvaney
yeah.
dressing, in a sports bra. I mean, like, if Dylan Mulvaney had a boob job and had big fakies, I still wouldn't think
Look,
he needs a bloody sports bra.
again, like it's like
Hairy chest.
it's so simple. Someone like from marketing, just create your own different line. Like, don't call it women's clothing, don't call it men's clothing. Just call it another line of clothing. And you could have marketed it as Dylan Mulvaney is the face of this
Unisex, maybe.
Yeah, there's unisex line, or call it something, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone really would have kicked up a fuss. Like, it would have been a little bit of a kick up, right? A little bit of a stir, but it wouldn't have been as much of a fuss as making him the face of women's clothing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
they took a spot away from a real biological woman. They
yeah,
gave it to a biological man in cosplay.
yeah.
And then if you're going to go opposite Nike, the second biggest shoe manufacturer, Adidas, they canceled their partnership with Kanye West because he had opinions.
Yeah,
I mean, biggest,
some of
his
the stuff
opinions
he's
are
doing now.
out there.
I love Kanye, but I mean, like, yeah, some of the stuff he's doing now, I'm like, I don't know, brother.
Well, he's starting an adult company, adult entertainment company, providing adult video content.
Yeah, what's he doing?
I don't know much more about it than that, but he's basically partnered up with somebody who has a successful career in filming adult video content. And he's going to start his own competitor to the Hub.
Yeah, I'm like, is he trying to like make fun of and expose more of the corrupt stuff that's going on, or is he just like literally just lost the plot? Because I mean, like, seeing his partner dress the way that they do and all this outlandish stuff is like, haha, yeah, because that's the kind of stuff that they do at like the Met Galas and all these kind of like Super Bowl events. You know what I mean? Like, basically slut shaming women.
She dresses like that when they go to the shop.
And he's like making fun of it, and then he's like now doing this, and it's like, well, then is he just trying to show how thirsty some people can be for fame, or is it just that he's actually just literally lost the plot? I don't know.
Well, yeah, whenever I see a photo of Kanye and his wife, I always feel like, I don't know why. I don't know why, because I like him. I like his takes, his freedom of speech. I don't necessarily like what he says. I like the fact that he's not afraid to say what he feels, even if it's something which I think is maybe risque to say. But every time I see her, I feel like, for some reason, I feel sorry for her. For some reason, I feel like
I don't.
Even if she's happy with her circumstance, one day she's going to go back and so many people are going to have bagged her in her history that she's just going to be mentally, because she maybe just wanted to be a sex symbol or something like that. It's going to hit her.
It's by choice. I guess,
yeah, I don't feel sorry for someone who's making that choice themselves, do you?
No, so like It's like when someone knowingly and willingly of age sleeps their way to the top and then comes out and says that that person raped them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't feel sorry. Nah. You're basically only saying that now because your time has run out. You got old. You're no longer usable. Whatever. But like, yeah, like if you willingly sleep your way to the top, you can't cry about it later. Like, you know what I mean? It's like those porn stars that then like
Oh,
have
bloody
all
hell.
this bad whingy stuff of their life now, and you know what I mean? It's like, well, you bloody got into porn either because you're a drug addict or you've just gotten into porn, and now you're gonna whinge and yeah, I don't understand it.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was Lana Rhodes who came out and said that she wishes all her old videos would be deleted. There's Mia Khalifa who left the industry, bagged the
Go back
industry
into it.
repetitively, went back probably because she's realized that it's
The money.
money. Riley Reid's come out and said now that she has a kid, she feels really bad that the kid's going to essentially grow up knowing what her mum does because there's just no getting away from that. You've got other, women who turn to OnlyFans and have massive followings, but they have crippling drug addictions because they're just mentally not there. They started when they're 18. They're essentially just, even if it's their choice, they've obviously been put through some scenarios in these films. There's one called Emily. Is it Emily Willis? Yeah, Emily Willis. Right now, is still in a coma because she had a drug overdose before Christmas. You know what I mean? A lot of these women are suicidal because of their 10 years of being in the spotlight from 18 to 28, and then from 28 to about 38, you're kind of like this old woman in the industry, and then you kind of just lose it from there. So it's crazy, crazy stuff right there. As you can see, I'm a bit of a historian on the matter. But yeah, it's scary stuff. And I was actually talking to somebody who I want to invite on the podcast in the future about both porn addiction and also on the flip side, the effects on the models themselves who perform in the scenes. But yeah, I'm not sure when we're going to be able to tee that up because they're in America, time lapse and things like that. But yeah, crazy tangent I went on there. Sorry about that. Did you want to talk about Harvey Weinstein?
Oh, Harvey, that's the brother. Is that the one that got off on his sex case?
Harvey Weinstein, the Hollywood
case?
producer who would force actresses or put them in positions where they felt forced to perform acts on him.
Yeah, yep, the one that got off on his rape charge. Yeah,
that's right.
Because
so
all these women, there was like hundreds and hundreds that were coming out, and then the court was like, or the defending attorney or whatever was like, "Hey, no, there's too many coming out. This changes everything now. We can't go through with this." And
it's almost like now they can't tell who's real and who's fake. So are they letting him off the hook? I'm not even sure.
You can't do it. Like my opinion with any of that stuff is if you come out and you lie about a rape or anything like that, you should be handed the full force of the law, monetary, due time. It should be one of the worst punishments because you're defaming someone. You're really for life, even if that person is purely innocent, to have that brought up and on your record, on your name, basically, is very, very just a bad taint. So I think it's one of the worst things to do to someone. But they shouldn't have, you know what I mean? That basically should be the punishment. So that way when you come out, you are honest. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like with all these women that are coming forward, hey, treat them all as they are, and go through and have a look and look at all the evidence, look at all blah blah blah, and anyone that's lied or whatever, absolutely give them the book, but use it as part of the
so that
case. I
people
mean,
know not to do it in the
yeah,
future.
not to be afraid to actually come forward. You know what I mean?
Because there was a baseball player who had a woman do that to him, and text messages were released of her text messaging her friend saying like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I've got another one, hook, line, and sinker. I'm
yeah,
gonna take him for all his worth. What's his
yeah,
net worth? Looking up his
yeah,
net worth, then
yeah,
going through, basically ruined his career.
yeah. But
You know,
again, again, if it's a woman that slept her way to the top, you know what I mean, and now she's trying to say that, no, different story. Full hand of the book, bitch.
yeah, exactly. See, they create a scenario where maybe the initial like 5 or 10 people, maybe they were like, this
Yeah,
really happened to them.
yeah.
Now a situation has been created where so many people are just coming out. Maybe these are failed actresses. Maybe these are just people who
Maybe it's a plan. Maybe his side they saw a kink in the system in the law and was like, you know what,
will pay people to do this.
we will pay people to come out to say that, and then we'll get off.
I didn't
They'll
even
be
consider that, but that's potentially a weird option there.
weird option, definitely an option.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, crazy. What's happening there? And obviously, there's more information coming out on that as
Yeah.
well. So we'll have to probably update everything in the next episode because it's fascinating to kind of look at how they're performing. But also, speaking of men being locked up for crimes that they did or did not commit, OJ Simpson passed away.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So he
Did
can
see that.
now rest at peace knowing that his wife's killer is dead.
No, no pun intended.
Huh?
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But yes, no. OJ Simpson is dead. Regardless of how you feel about him, he's dead. And pop culture wise, that was just
Crazy Tom. That was crazy.
like it's basically been 30 years of speculation, consistent discussions about.
In movies, making jokes.
Yep.
Yeah.
He wrote a book about
Crazy.
it saying, I didn't do it, but if I did, I would have done it like this,
Yeah, crazy.
playing
Crazy.
it up. But he's dead. That happened this last month. We didn't get to cover it any sooner. But yeah, interesting kind of thing there. People are saying that people are saying he is innocent because his own son had history before the late Nicole Simpson Brown was murdered of attacking people with a knife. So people are saying that O.J. Simpson actually did all of this to try to protect his son, which could be a very, very plausible real world scenario.
Mm.
But I just don't know. It seems like a lot of rigmarole.
Mm.
And I can't believe that nobody would have checked the glove on the son at any point if that was a potential, thing.
Like a Cinderella moment.
Yeah, exactly.
See if the shoe fits, see if the glove fits.
Yeah, exactly. Like the lawyers walking around just looking for anyone that fits the glove. Because that's how it is in Cinderella, right? No matter who it is, as long as their foot matches, and that must be the woman.
That's a person, yeah.
There's no size 7.5s in the entire city. I think 7.5 is a small woman's foot. I don't know. But yes, big month of crazy news. And there's still more stuff that we're seeing that we want to kind of bring out as well. Even just now having my screen open while we're talking, I'm seeing more Biden and Trump news and things like that as well that we'll have to cover next time because there's just so much happening in the world.
I actually had someone
Yeah.
ask, what do I keep looking down at? I actually have I have stones, like crystal thingies,
Ooh.
and I kind of just play with them and rearrange them, put them in lines and triangles and circles, and yeah, I just fidget with them. Just gives me something to do. So if you ever wonder why I'm like looking down and for moments on camera, that's what I'm doing.
That is
to that person.
I haven't thought that, but now I'm going to look out for that. I do know
No,
that
no.
sometimes I'm looking at. I've got two screens, one here and one there. So I'll look here at the screen, which is you, or I'll look here, depending where I've moved everything. So someone's always like, "Why are you looking in the opposite direction of where he is?" And I'm like, "Well, that's because that's where he is to me, you dickhead." But really, if I just move the screen over here, then you're right there. Craziness. Crazy behind the scenes footage. But yeah, that was a huge episode. I know for those of you playing at home, we were a little bit unprepared this episode. We were actually so prepared a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. We had notes, we had this, we had that, we had the other, and then we weren't able to tee it up. And then tonight we were like, we need to get this podcast done because we actually look forward to it all week.
I literally only jumped online so I could basically get you to design my jumper. That's right, people. Dan's a designer. He's going to design my jumper on here.
Stay tuned, because I think I haven't picked up but you're actually modeling the prototype jumper that we're going to be selling for $99 million each.
Yes,
hand signed
in Bitcoins.
In Bitcoin, yeah. So yeah, like 1 Bitcoin, that's fine. But yes, we're gonna be designing a shirt for Jay. And we'll when that comes in, we'll have to show you. We'll have to see if we can do something that actually looks pretty. But we're gonna sign off now. If you think it's been a pretty flowy podcast, I think this has gone pretty well.
It's been good. As you can see, slowly getting better. Public speaking, not the strongest thing, but every day we work hard. What did I say? We pull up our pants and we buckle our shoes and we get to work.
We put on a smile. We put on our glasses. We
eventually
try to avoid the screen reflection.
Eventually, I'll be like Joe Rogan. I'll be sitting here smoking a cigar, and you'll be toking on your weed, and we'll be laughing. And the UFOs and the aliens.
I feel like if Joe Rogan did a podcast like butt ass naked, I wouldn't even look at the fact that he was naked. I'd just be like, oh, it's Joe Rogan. Haha, cool. But he'd be like butt naked. But you wouldn't even know. You'd be like, wait, like halfway through, you'd be like, wait, is he not wearing clothes?
Yeah. No, very entertaining.
If he did it naked, it would be.
No, just in general.
We're getting there, guys. With your help, liking and subscribing and sharing, we'll get there in maybe 5 years. All right, guys, we're signing off. Thank you, anyone who's come through. I'm Dan.
And I'm Jay.
See ya.